there. So, you know, everybody has their guides, everybody has their own intuition. I'm not always the most intuitive at times either. But it's just, it's the only way I know to answer this is you just learn to trust yourself. It could be that you'll be guided to go out of town when something happens. I don't have that answer. Or you will be right where you don't think you need to be, but you're going to be there for a very, very good reason. And out of it will come out a self-empowerment that you never would have had before. We all have our own paths, and we are all creating our own realities. And we all have our own personal agendas for learning and growing and becoming who we are. Your experience is going to be very different than mine. And I don't know how to, to tell you. I mean, hey, if I had a hard date, but I never do, and I don't get a hard date. And I've made that mistake in the past about giving hard dates, when in fact they were probabilities. So the fact is, I don't know either. But you just have to trust that you will be exactly where you need to be when you need to be there. And I know that, that's kind of a foo-foo, la-li-la answer, but I don't, that's my own experience as well, that I just have to pray and hope that, have faith that I'll be exactly where I need to be.
I appreciate that. That's pretty much how my take on it, and I just wanted to kind of see what your thoughts were on that, because to try to take it from a mental perspective and plan and get out maps, and it seems a little absurd to me, and that's kind of going the other direction in the trusting the flow of life. So I appreciate that answer.
Exactly, and personally, I wrestle with that all the time. I try to have backup plan to backup plan to backup plan to backup plan, and I spend all this energy doing this, and it goes completely a different direction. So.
How you doing? Thank you, sir, for being here. I just had a question. When you mentioned the thing about the 47 levels of government, which are just triggers
levels of security clearance.
Security, yeah, that the president doesn't even know, that he's not really in charge. This happened 46 years ago, of course, but I was just wondering, what is your thoughts on the purpose of President Kennedy's assassination? I just was curious about that, if you had, wondering.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I just, ooh, man. Okay. I will tell you my perspective on that. Eisenhower told Kennedy about 54. So Kennedy knew, and he told Bobby, obviously. One of the things that happened, and this has been documented through the great work that Dr. Stephen Greer has done with the Disclosure Project, is that most of the extraterrestrial knowledge and technology and exchange of technology went black 3 weeks after Eisenhower knew about it. So he didn't even know where it was. And this has been confirmed by one of his chief of staff, a brigadier general. It's Langdon, I believe it is. Langdon. So he shared all this with John Kennedy. And apparently where they felt the hub of the loss of where this technology had gone and how far it went black was something called the Special Operations Coordinating Group, which is part of the National Security Council. And what's interesting to note is that the first thing John Kennedy did when he took office was sign a presidential directive abolishing the Special Operations Coordinating Group. Now, no one knows exactly who they are, but they're not only connected to the intelligence, but also to all the black programs, to the secret space program, and everything else. There is some conjecture that these people are the governors of the Federal Reserve, because they control the money, and it's really all about the money. That's a conjecture, though. I don't know for a fact. But what's interesting to note is that they had connections everywhere, to everything, because all the intelligence from above would come to them, and then they would decide which information the president was supposed to get. Again, those layers of security clearances. What's interesting to note is after the assassination, the very first thing Johnson did when he got back into the White House was recreate the Special Operations Coordinating Group, now known as Special Group, in the National Security Council. That's my take on it.
That's awesome. But that time during the 60s, of course, there's like, of course, like 4 more. Are they all like just kind of series of random events, or are they all different, like, King and Bobby and, are they just all random occurrences of lone nuts, like, James Earl Ray and all those guys in Surrey and Surrey, or are they just a part of that whole thing?
I think that there are programs that overlap all the actions that occur in each country. Yes, there are some lone nuts or individuals that do things. But there's also, at the same time, an overwhelming amount of evidence that many people have been brainwashed and created to be hitters, to go wet and take out people. So I don't know. But again, let's go back to Operation Paperclip. A lot of the brainwashing and mind control technology that the Germans had been given was brought over here. And they just continued operating here under different names and with new passports. So it's a very big, and I don't know all the components. It's a very big question, but on the surface, does it look like it was done on purpose? I mean, look at the individuals, who they were. They were making change. They were creating an awareness. They were behind a very powerful, or the focal point of a very powerful movement for change, to make things happen for the betterment of everybody. Okay? And that's, again, that is the pyramidal power structure. You lop off the head, loss of knowledge, it flounders. Somebody can come in, take control, and move it the other way. Then it doesn't exist. So, okay?
Hello, sir. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
First, I wanted to thank you for bringing up a subject that I feel is one of the most important things that we can talk about here at this conference. And as far as I can tell, you're the first person to bring it up. It's the monetary system, the economic system that we predominantly use in this world. What my question is if you or the Andromedans have any insight to offer as far as the transition that we'll need in order to transcend an economic system that posits us in a position of feeling like we need to compete with each other in order to survive, making us feel separated from each other instead of being one.
That's a great question. And let me ask you this back. What are your thoughts on it first?
Obviously,
okay,
you can tell how I worded my question.
This is about, mentoring is about self-empowerment.
That's right.
Okay? What are your ideas on it first? It's great to ask somebody for their advice when you don't have a clue what you want to do. Okay? But that can wrongly, or to your betterment, influence you. But it's better for you to have some idea about where you stand and why you stand on a particular position or a reason to make a change than to have somebody tell you why.